Join us as we dive into our obsession with true crime, history, and mysterious stories. Each Corrupted Clip episode is less than 30 minutes long, providing you with the perfect bite-sized content to get you through the day.
We assume no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions in the content of this episode. The Corrupt Podcast is based on the facts and our opinions of the case. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Corrupt Podcast. Do you remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s? How about the iconic Darth Vader line, "Luke, I am your father"? Does the Monopoly man wear a monocle? When a large group of people misremember an event, it's known as the Mandela Effect. We're diving into the possible misidentification of pulp culture elements, mysterious collective misremembering, and alternate realities in this corrupted clip. So before we start off here, we want to give a shout out to our listener, Stephen. He's from New Zealand. Welcome to the Corrupted crew.
Not only is he a Patreon member, he made a post in a podcast group that led to all kinds of new listeners for us. Sending you a virtual high five, Stephen.
We also received a really nice review from Casey Ray.
She has a true crime podcast called Notorious Escapades. You should go give that a listen as well.
The reviews are so important because they push us up that algorithm and help us to be found. If you love this pod, like we do, please leave us a review or share it on your socials, or both. Whichever one. The Mandela Effect started in 2009 when paranormal researcher Fiona Broome attended a conference. At this conference, Fiona realized in addition to herself, other people remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s while he was in jail. Not only did he die, they remember the news coverage of his death airing on TV, riots, and a speech given by his widow. However, Nelson went on to be the president of South Africa before he died in 2013 at 95 years old. We have some examples of the Mandela Effect, and then we'll dig into some possible reasons why this is occurring. In Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader actually says, "No, I am your father." The line that became a pulp culture phenomenon was, "Luke, I am your father."
Let's be honest though, Luke, I am your father is a way cooler line.
It is. I asked my dad about this, and he knew it right away. He said, "No, I am your father."
Ooh, true Star Wars fan.
I'm like, damn.
I did the same thing. I questioned both my own memory and my husband's memory throughout this episode. This next one blew my mind a little bit. Fruit Loop cereal is spelled F-R-O-O-T instead of F-R-U-I-T. Kellogg's released Fruit Loops in 1963, but was sued because their cereal does not actually contain fruit. So they changed the cereal name to Fruit Loops, F-R-O-O-T. And there are some people who very recently actually remember the cereal being Fruit, F-R-U-I-T. So this one is chalked up to just as a collective misremembering. Some people remember Shaggy from Scooby-Doo having an Adam's apple. Look again, there's no Adam's apple.
And this is the cartoon version of Scooby-Doo, not Matthew Lillard.
Right. Thankfully, Matthew Lillard has an Adam's apple.
Did you know Shaggy's last name was Rogers?
He's Shaggy Rogers.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
That is different. I don't know that I knew that.
Reminds me of Steve Rogers, Captain America.
What's Fred's last name?
I don't know. Flintstone?
What? Like, what's Velma's last name?
I wasn't a Scooby-Doo fan that much.
Okay, well, that's just tragic. Everybody loves Scooby-Doo.
I mean, not that I didn't love them. I did, but I just didn't watch them that much.
That's terrible. Like the old ones. Boomerang. Watch that all the time.
I watched the live versions.
Yes.
But not really.
With Matthew Lillard.
Yes. I heard he's so nice at like Comic Cons and whatnot.
He seems like he would be very down to earth.
Okay, so up next, Pikachu. You guys remember Pikachu? Pikachu has a tail that is entirely yellow, but people remember the tail having a black tip. Pikachu's ears are black-tipped, which might be part of the confusion there. Does Mickey Mouse wear suspenders? Nope. Nothing holds up his red shorts. Going back to Steamboat Willie days, Mickey has never worn suspenders, but he does have the buttons for the suspenders.
King Henry VIII's turkey leg. Some people report that King Henry had a turkey leg in his left hand in his portrait, but in the actual painting, he has nothing in his hand. The logo for Skechers does not include a T. The shoe brand is spelled Skechers, no T. This is stretching it for me on the Mandela Effect. That's just a misspelled word. I don't think that's a glitch in the matrix here.
No, I don't think it is. There is an A in Oscar Mayer, though. This is another misspelled word that is associated with the Mandela Effect. Some people remember Mayer, Mayer, being spelled Mayer, Meyer. I'm hold the phone, because when I read those two, I swear I thought I spelled them the same.
Nope.
I just went through the Mandela Effect right here, right now.
Along with everybody else. So Mayer is just not spelled the way that you think it should be spelled, Mayer, which is maybe why they had to spell it in their song, because nobody gets this right.
I mean, to be fair, it was like, what, a 4-year-old kid? And he probably went off script.
Sitting there, singing about his baloney.
Thinking about his baloney. Hashtag thinking about his baloney. Part of the collective misremembering is the Oscar Mayer song also says with an E in its jingle. The song and brand in this reality is with an A. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Nope, it's actually a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A 2019 movie on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood even named their movie, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Oops.
Where is New Zealand on the map? I bet Steve could tell us.
Exactly. I was just thinking this. Come on, Steve.
Apparently, he needs to give us a geography lesson. Is it northeast of Australia or southeast? The answer is to the southeast, but there's a group of people who remember New Zealand to the northeast. This could be due to alternate realities where New Zealand was northeast of Australia, or it could just be time for a geography refresher. Does Curious George have a tail? Nope, no tail here. This means he's a chimpanzee and not a real monkey, if we're getting really specific about kids' cartoons.
Listen, Curious George is my dude. I love all the episodes and all the movies.
Us too.
Man in the Yellow Hat, he comes in clutch as well. Like, it just works for me.
Yeah, we love Curious George. That curious little monkey.
In the movie Silence of the Lambs, do you remember the iconic line from Hannibal? Hello, Clarice? That didn't happen. He simply says, good morning, and then Clarice introduces herself. Entire groups of people remember watching this movie together and hearing Hannibal say, hello, Clarice.
Do you remember a 1990s Disney movie where Tinkerbell uses her wand to spell Disney and dot the I? You and I aren't the only ones. This is a big one for the millennial generation. Disney states that Tinkerbell only ever dotted the I and never used her wand to spell out the word Disney. You can't find a movie out there with the intro other than Tinkerbell dotting the I. I definitely fall into this collective misremembering because I really do remember Tinkerbell zooming around the opening credits, signing Disney with her wand, and then dotting the I.
I go back and forth on this because Disney Channel had stars, like Disney stars, spelled Disney, I believe, and the Mickey Mouse head shape. So it blends it for me. I can't remember.
I know, it really is a misremembering. Like, I think it was on an animated movie that I remember this, like a VHS. I'm showing my age here, but like a VHS animated movie. I searched high and low. I'm not the only one online that remembers her doing that, but nobody, including myself, none of us can figure out what the movie was. And Disney says it didn't happen.
So does she do that on her new movies?
I don't think she's done it at all, according to Disney. She's only buzzing around and dotting the I.
Okay, so in the new movies, she dots the I. That's the only thing she does.
And the old ones, like our childhood, 90s, early 2000s movies, she dotted the I a lot.
Looney Tunes, Tunes, or Looney Tunes, Toons. Here's the twist. It's always been Looney Tunes with Tunes. Rich Uncle Pennybags, aka the Monopoly Man, does not wear a monocle. We possibly misremember this fact because we associate old rich guys with monocles. How interesting.
It's kind of true, though.
It is very true.
How about the Bear family, the Berenstain Bears? The Library of Congress got involved with this one to confirm their last name has always been Berenstain with an A. The peanut butter is Jif, not Jiffy. It's possible that Jif is being combined with Skippy peanut butter or Jiffy popcorn, but it's always been Jif, J-I-F, peanut butter.
In the Britney Spears Oops, I Did It Again video, she's not wearing a headset. A doll was sold with the headset, though. I had this Barbie, okay? But also, I see this as she was a singer, so they just added it in type of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Britney Spears, my God. Such a fan. I had all her CDs and all her Barbies. Yeah, I was huge BS fan.
I think you're still a huge BS fan.
I am, just a different one.
I feel like this episode is really just showing our age so much.
It is. It truly is. Okay, when Tarzan speaks to Jane and says, "Me, Tarzan, you, Jane," this doesn't happen in the books or movies, but it is in quite a few skits and jokes, possibly contributing to the collective misremembering. Okay, this one, for me, it totally happens. I remember this all the way, down to his bent knuckle pointing. Don't you? Like, he was like, you see...
In the cartoon one?
If people can see my knuckle right now, I'd be pointing it at Paige. And he said, "Me, Tarzan," and then points to you, Jane. You know, because he's like a gorilla.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't that big of a Tarzan fan, but I do remember the animated one.
The animated one is what I'm talking about, but I love all of them. I really do.
I can't say for sure, but you're not alone. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that remember "Me, Tarzan, you, Jane."
Yes.
One of the most known examples of the Mandela Effect is the movie Shazam. The community remembers the actor and comedian Sinbad playing a genie in a movie called Shazam. My husband actually remembers this movie vividly as a kid, but Shazam doesn't exist. He literally told me that he must be from an alternate reality because this movie existed. That is how dedicated he is to this fact. There was a movie called Kazam where Shaq plays a genie, but it's not the same. Thousands of people remember the Sinbad movie with a pool party end scene. When questioned, Sinbad declined that this movie ever existed.
Yeah, so I remember Kazam with Shaq, but I don't recall a Shazam at all.
I don't know either of these movies, so I really have no vote, but he is 100% sure that this movie is out there somewhere, but we have lost it in the alternate realities somewhere.
Kit Kat doesn't have a hyphen. It's just 2 words. Kit Kat. I need one right now, actually.
Gotta get a Kit Kat?
I love Kit Kats.
Yes. We call them kitty cat cats.
Kitty cat cats.
Yep, we call them kitty cat cats in our house.
You also say, "Wash your paws." Love that.
We do. Yes. We hold paws when we're crossing the street. We wash paws.
I catch myself saying that to my daughter sometimes. And I'm like, there it is, Paige. There it is. We're sliding into some risky business here. So, in risky business, does Tom Cruise have sunglasses on when he's jamming out to some Bob Seger? Nope. It's actually a button-down shirt, white socks, and some white undies. No sunglasses in the scene. However, the movie cover shows him wearing sunglasses. This isn't a Mandela effect. It's a Scientology effect. Don't come after me. Love you, Mr. Cruise.
I love the fact that you went Scientology with it.
We need to do an episode on that.
We could do several episodes on that.
If our audience could see how big your eyes got when I said we need to do an episode on that, you were like, oh, light bulb.
Yeah, eyeballs the size of saucers. Like, oh gosh.
What are we digging in here, too?
As the main researcher, I'm going to fall into a hole here.
I've watched so many documentaries on that. It's not even funny. So, like, I am down.
I will put it on our list. Cereal is a highly debated item today, and it continues with the color of Tony the Tiger's nose. According to Kellogg's, Tony the Tiger has always had a blue nose on the box of Frosted Flakes. Black stripes and a blue nose might be causing this confusion.
The background of the cereal box is the same shade of blue. I think this is what threw me off. It blends in almost, and when I was younger, he was probably noseless to me.
I just thought his nose was black this whole time. Maybe we don't stare at the box as much as we should.
Do you ever have those times where you just stare at something, like an object? It could be any object, and this happens with words too, where you just kind of stare at it over and over and over, and then it starts to look weird, and then you're like, oh, I'm wondering like why it's exactly this shape, and I'm wondering why am I crazy? Like, have you ever thought this?
I don't see anything different, but I'll like zone out on something.
But you don't see
things
like
go fuzzy.
You don't see it. Bring your husband back in here. He'll understand. He'll understand me.
You guys are the same person, so probably. In the 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz, when the Wicked Witch says, "Fly, fly, fly," to her flying monkeys, it's not "fly, my pretties."
She does call Dorothy my pretty.
Which I think leads to a lot of the misremembering here.
Mm-hmm. So Fruit of the Loom never had a cornucopia in their logo. There is just fruit sitting there, no cornucopia. In 2023, the company made a statement saying, "The Mandela Effect is real. The cornucopia in our logo is not."
Nicely handled, Fruit of the Loom.
Yes. Applause. Beam me up, Scotty is never said in Star Trek. They do say, "Beam us up, Scotty," or "Scotty, beam me up." The exact order, "beam me up, Scotty," doesn't happen, but you can clearly see why this one gets mixed up in our memory. There's a lot of out of order happening with these. What does that say exactly about our generation? We're out of order.
We're all out of order. But the next one actually is a Mandela effect going back to the 80s, so it's not just millennials. On August 2nd, 1980, a bomb was detonated at an Italian railroad. The massacre would kill 85 people and injure at least 200 others. At the same time the bomb went off, the clock at the railway stopped. A few years later, the clock was repaired and operational again. The clock became faulty and stopped working pretty soon after those repairs. This is where the Mandela effect comes in. A large number of people remember the clock working for a short time, but people that even helped repair the clock don't remember it ever working again. An example here is if Angela and I repaired the clock together or participated in some way, then Angela doesn't remember the clock working again, but I do. It's very strange. If you look up the clock now, you can find multiple articles about the clock being frozen at the same time the bomb went off 45 years ago, but nothing about it ever being repaired.
This seems accurate, that I wouldn't remember the clock working.
It's just such a strange situation.
It is.
In the movie Forrest Gump, Forrest sits on a park bench and says, "Life is a box of chocolates." It's another iconic line that's incorrect. Forrest actually says, "Life was like a box of chocolates."
See, I have always remembered it being, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." I like to pay attention to the details.
It's a very good impression of Forrest Gump.
I could do it better, but, with people listening, and I just can't.
Feeling the pressure.
Yeah, I need some chocolate. Give me my Kit Kat. I could really say it nicely.
The final one we have is on the Mona Lisa. Was she smiling or not? This one got me. I remember her having not really a frown, but more like RBF.
A resting bitch face?
Yes. How do you remember?
I'm just cracking up because you always shorten it like that.
You don't call it RBF?
No, I don't. I just say a resting bitch face.
No, I think it's like when people are like, "Oh, that's a PETA." Like, "Oh, that's a pain in the ass."
She does look like she has a smirk.
Yes. So the correct answer is she's smiling, But it's not a huge smile. It's more of a grin.
Well, and people back then, they didn't really smile in portraits, now did they? Was there a reason?
No, that's true. There was a reason for it, but I don't remember why off the top of my head.
Pride.
Something about your soul, I think, right?
What? No, that's like when you take a picture, it takes your soul.
That's photography?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Something like that. According to the 2012 phenomenon, the world ended in 2012 and we're all living in an alternate reality. It was a weird time in 2012 when variations of the Mayan calendar were supposed to run out on December 21st, 2012. Hysteria ensued, but the world didn't end. Or did it?
Or even stranger, the world was sucked into a black hole when CERN created a stable black hole and we're all living in a simulation. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN, says they have not and will not generate a black hole. But that doesn't mean it isn't possible.
I like how people think they know when getting sucked into a black hole what it would do to us. Immediately a simulation. Nothing other than that. We're just all living under a simulation.
Kind of takes you like Avatar. Like we're all asleep right now. This is not real.
Yeah, I love Avatar.
It's a scary way to live your life, honestly, if you thought that everything was a simulation.
But if it's true, it's not scary if, we're not aware of it.
But now we are.
Are we?
Wow. This episode is off the rails.
We're off the rails.
Apparently, because we've been sucked into a black hole.
I know what's on the other end. It's all the Scientologists that are waiting for us. Come to the dark side.
The funny thing is I went rock with it, and Architects has a song out, Black Hole, and the whole song is there's gold at the center of the black hole. So I'm like, well, there's gold there. Be okay.
So you were comforted with the black hole.
Maybe he knows something that we don't. That's all I'm saying.
Wilma Bainbridge is an expert on the Mandela Effect. She has this to say about the phenomenon. We like to think we understand our minds well and have good control over our memories. The Mandela Effect is one of those cases where our memory betrays us, creating a creepy, eerie feeling.
I think she hits the nail on the head right there.
Absolutely.
Another theory for the Mandela Effect is based on alternate realities. Instead of one timeline, there are multiple timelines or realities that overlap. The community of people remembering a single event is because of the alternate realities weaving between the other alternate realities.
This wraps up the Mandela Effect episode, guys, so let us know your thoughts in the comments or by email. Do you believe in the Mandela Effect, or are we just misremembering events like they are fact?
We would love to hear your opinions. We would love for you to become part of the Corrupt crew. You can find us on Patreon with multiple tiers and PayPal. This will score you our appreciation and will announce your name in a future episode. Both links are in the episode notes. Case suggestions and feedback can be emailed to us at corruptpod@gmail.com.
The sources for this episode would be listed in the episode notes. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Don't forget to subscribe to catch our new Corrupt content. Please also leave us a review wherever you're listening to this episode. Bye.
Bye.